Since the November election, the Georgia Secretary of State, the Vice President, and other public officials withstood enormous pressure to uphold the lawful election of President Biden and the rule of law. What would have happened if these officials had bowed to the force President Trump exerted or the mob that attacked the Capitol?
The House managers have 5 minutes.
I want to take a minute and remind everybody about the incredible pressure that Donald Trump was putting on election officials in different states in this country and the intimidation that he was issuing. I want to remind everyone of the background of Donald Trump's call to one Secretary of State, the Secretary of State from Georgia, Mr. Raffensperger. Donald Trump tried to overturn the election by any means necessary. He tried again and again to pressure and threaten election officials to overturn the election results. He pressured Michigan officials, calling them late at night and hosting them at the White House. He did the same thing with officials in Pennsylvania. He called into a local meeting of the Pennsylvania legislature, and he also hosted them at the White House, where he pressured them. And in Georgia, it was even worse. He sent tweet after tweet attacking the Secretary of State until Mr. Raffensperger got death threats to him and his family. His wife got a text that said, quote, "Your husband deserves facing a firing squad." Firing squad for doing his job. Mr. Raffensperger stood up to him. He told the world that elections are the bedrock of this society and the votes were accurately counted for Donald Trump's opponent. Officials like Mr. Sterling warned Trump that if this continued, someone's going to get killed. But Donald Trump didn't stop. He escalated it even further. He made a personal call. You heard that call because it was recorded. The President of the United States told a Secretary of State that if he does not find votes, he will face criminal penalties. Please, senators, consider that for a second. The President putting all of this public and private pressure on election officials, telling them that they could face criminal penalties if they don't do what he wants. And not just any number of votes that he was looking for. Donald Trump was asking the Secretary of State to somehow find the exact number of votes Donald Trump lost the state by. Remember, President Biden won Georgia by 11,779 votes. In his own words, President Trump said, quote, "All I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes." He wanted the Secretary of State to somehow find the precise number plus one of votes that he needed to win. As a Congress and as a nation, we cannot be numb to this conduct. If we are, and if we don't set a precedent against it, more presidents will do this in the future. This will be a green light for them to engage in that kind of pressure and that kind of conduct. And this could have gone a very different way if those election officials had bowed to the intimidation and the pressure of the President of the United States. It would have meant that instead of the American people deciding this election, President Trump alone would have decided this American election. That's exactly what was at stake, and that's exactly what he was trying to do. He intended, wanted to, and tried to overturn the election by any means necessary. He tried everything else that he could to do to win. He started inciting the crowd, issuing tweet after tweet, issuing commands to stop the count, stop the steal, worked up the crowd, sent a save the date. So it wasn't just one speech or one thing. He was trying everything. He was pressuring elected officials. He was riling up his base, telling them the election had been stolen from them, that it had been stolen from him. It was a combination of things that only Donald Trump could have done. And for us to believe otherwise is to think that somehow a rabbit came out of a hat and this mob just showed up here on their own, all by themselves. This is dangerous, senators. And the future of our democracy truly rests in your hands.